We made front page news 12 times in 2023 for doing this. And I'm going to tell you why.
Are you going to try and stop the most famous race in the world? Is that your plan?
We were on the front page of the Daily Mail for our plans to target the Grand National before we even publicly launched the new Animal Rising.
A vegan mob is plotting to sabotage the Grand National.
It set the stage for our battle against a multi-billion-pound industry.
We're trying to protect those horses.
I believe that the reason why we're doing it is what's most important.
And the plan was simple. Ordinary people putting their bodies on the line to try and save the lives of animals dying on racetracks across the UK.
So we might well have a delay here at Aintree.
This day, I think, is going to be overshadowed by the protests.
But it was bigger than that. This was not just about horses and dogs suffering and dying in the racing industry. This was about repairing our relationship with all animals.
It raises a big question about not only how we treat horses, but how we treat animals in general.
We're not asking for smaller jumps on racetracks or bigger cages for farmed animals. We need to repair our relationship to animals, from one of use and abuse to one where we prioritise their freedom and well-being. As Sir David Attenborough acknowledged just this month, we urgently need to transition to an animal-free, plant-based food system, for them and for the sake of all life on this planet. But our governments refuse to listen. Peaceful protests are met with state repression. We've seen individuals arrested for sitting calmly in high-end restaurants. And 3 brave women charged for saving 3 lambs from royal land. Lambs who would have been slaughtered by now. So don't doubt the corporate power organising against our efforts.
Now, more than 100,000 people are expected to be in the crowd at today's Epsom Derby, but there are warnings of disruption from the group Animal Rising.
Ahead of the Epsom Derby in June, the race organisers paid for an injunction.
If that injunction is breached, people are automatically in contempt of court.
One of our top stories, and 19 people have been arrested in connection with plans to disrupt the Epsom Derby today.
What this is about is the fact that as long as animals are being used and exploited, and we have this broken relationship with them and the natural world, people who are willing to put their bodies on the line to prevent that harm.
Our action on the track at Epsom became our biggest ever press day, shining that spotlight on our broken relationship with animals and nature.
They've managed to amplify the volume of the conversation, and that will continue.
It is a powerful message, and I think lots of people will connect with wanting to step in and stop harm from coming to an animal.
The way that we treat animals in this country is right at the heart of this nature crisis that we're facing. What we need is a conversation about how we can imagine our relationship with animals differently.
What this is about is protecting these animals. It's about trying to create the change that we need to see, where we don't see animals as property, where we don't see them as objects for our use, for our entertainment.
This action is part of a campaign over a summer of actions, and I'd like to point out that the vast majority of animal suffering is happening in animal agriculture.
In the courtroom this year, 79 individuals stood trial, and 38% were found not guilty or had their cases dismissed. But civil resistance is only a part of this picture. Our local campaigners are leading the way.
What we're doing is calling on universities across the country to transition to fully plant-based catering.
Shifting to a plant-based food system is unequivocally a key solution to our climate and ecological crises.
This year, our Plant-Based Universities campaign took off with 8 successful votes in favour of 100% plant-based transitions.
What I'm saying is that universities have a duty to act on the very research that they're providing.
The campaign is expanding into Europe and active in 83 institutions globally. Our Plant-Based Council's campaigners saw similar victories.
So I would like to know when Council will finally give this issue the attention it urgently deserves and debate the motion.
Animal agriculture is a leading cause of climate change, so councils who've declared a climate emergency have a responsibility to take action.
Those in favour, please indicate.
And last but not least, our Vegan Support the Farmers campaign launched this month. Rooted in the spirit of non-violence, this is doing important solidarity work with farming communities to break down barriers, reduce isolation, and better understand the realities and the challenges of farming. Not only did these campaigns put us on 12 front pages in 2023, but we also featured in printed press 774 times. We took part in 133 TV and radio interviews, and we reached more than 75 million people on our social media. And in doing so, we touched the hearts and minds of countless individuals across the world. Many of us involved with Animal Rising give an hour's income every month to support this work for animals. You can set up a monthly donation now to help us reach even more people next year and achieve real change for the cows, pigs, fish, lambs, horses, and every animal who we know deserves to live and thrive.